Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody rise up weekdays. Catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. We got some breaking news, or it's been a little bit not so much breaking news anymore. Sorry about that little glitch there. But it's not so much breaking news anymore, but they have come to, I don't know, a standstill? Stalemate? Deadlock? Wow. We got some new information. So we got to get into this conversation and find out exactly what this exactly means. So we're going to be talking about that very, very shortly. So do me a favor before we get into everything, because, I know I'm a little bit behind the ball. I just got back home. I was running around and I was racing back home when I found out about this information. Yes, a mistrial. Surprise, surprise for some of us, and not so much of a surprise for a lot of us, for the other rest of the world. Okay? We're going to talk about that. Okay? So do me a favor. Before we get into everything, please hit that like button down below. Crush it, make it scream out your name. You know what to do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms like Facebook. All right? And if you are on those other platforms like Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, etc., please hit that follow button. Follow me on those platforms. Also, please subscribe to this channel, this YouTube channel. And of course, please go check out my secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips. There will be some new content coming out later on today that's going to be like summarizing things that we have covered at great lengths on these bigger shows. So if you like summaries, a little bit of breakdowns and all that stuff, we will be starting to do that on the secondary channel as well. So please go over there, hit it. That would really, really mean a lot. Subscribe. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Consider becoming part of the family. That would be amazing. Okay. And of course, if you want to support even further, go to patreon.com/The Pascal Show. It is going across the screen down below me as we speak. Okay. All right, guys, let's get into this. All right. We already know what's going on. I was just talking about this a little bit earlier this morning, but there has been new updates revolving around this trial. The world has been waiting. Okay. Everybody and they mama has been waiting at bated breath for this result, for the verdict revolving around Karen Read's trial. Now, if you don't know, Karen Read is on trial for the unaliving or for the murder of her boyfriend. His name is John O'Keefe. Officer John O'Keefe. Let me just pull his face up here too. Like I said, this just kind of happened. I just found out about this information, raced home, got some things set up as best as I could. So we're going to be shooting from the hip, guys. Shoot 'em a Gavin today. We're going to get straight into it and talk about this new update. Okay, as you see the title above down below, it is real. It is a mistrial, y'all. I know some of you guys are feeling, and some of y'all are feeling for either side for defense or prosecution. Did they drop the ball? Which side dropped the ball? What you think? Okay. Do you think, were you shocked about this mistrial or no? And what does this mean in the future? Are they going to be looking at another trial here? Are we going to be going through the same ish all over again here in the very near future or no? A lot of people have questions here, right? So do I, right? Because like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I just play one on TV. But let's get into this, guys, because this is just something that just recently happened, okay, that I'm sure we'd all love to relive and see with our two eyes. So let's watch this live. Well, it's not live anymore, but it was recorded live. The judge announced a mistrial, which means the jury couldn't make a decision, guys. The jury could not make a decision. They could not make a unanimous decision on whether or not she did this, if she guilty or she not guilty. Okay? Which is pretty freaking wild. So let's take a look at this video. Okay? and it's not perfectly queued up. So give it a second. It will get started. But and it's silent until the camera moves, just so you guys know. So if you guys go, oh, I can't hear anything, give it 2 seconds. It's gonna be on and popping. Look. Thank you. Be seated. Closing session.
22117 Commonwealth versus Karen Reed.
All right, the jury is at an impasse. So we'll bring them in.
Hold on, real quick. Hit the number 1. Make sure you guys can hear this, okay? Because this is like I'm just grabbing this from live, okay, from a live feed. Shout out to Law and Crime for providing this live feed or this particular live feed. I know a lot of people have been watching this, and the whole world is reacting to this mug right now. Okay, so we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna take a look at some other videos, family and friends, etc., reacting to this and all that. We're gonna jump into a bunch of stuff. Okay. I may open the phone lines. I may not. I don't know yet. Okay. But we're going to rock and roll and we'll see what happens here. All right. So hit the number 1. Definitely do not forget, hit that like button down below, babies. Okay. Please and thank you. It helps with the channel, helps with this show, helps us grow and all that stuff. And of course, do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Okay. Please and thank you. All right. Let's get into this thing, shall we? Dang.
You guys for the jury? Closing session, please be seated.
All right, Mr. Foreman, I am in receipt of your note. Judge Cannoni, despite our rigorous efforts, we continue to find ourselves at an impasse. Our perspectives on the evidence are starkly divided. Some members of the jury firmly believe that the evidence surpasses the burden of proof, establishing the elements of the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Conversely, others find the evidence fails to meet this standard and does not sufficiently establish the necessary elements of the charges. The deep division is not due to a lack of effort or diligence, but rather a sincere adherence to our individual principles and moral convictions. To continue to deliberate would be futile and only serve to force us to compromise these deeply held beliefs. I'm not going to do that to you folks. Your service is complete. I'm declaring a mistrial in this case. I'll be in to see you privately in a few minutes. So thank you so much for your service. Okay.
All rise for the court, please. Everything.
Thank you. Be seated. Closing session.
All right, I'd like to pick a status date to find out what our next move is. So I'd like to come back sometime, maybe the end of July. I understand people have vacation.
Now I know, okay, so this part is when I was watching this, going back home and everything. But the thing is that they are saying they're planning on having another date so that they can figure out what is the next step. What is the next thing that they're going to do? Are they actually going to go through this again? Are we going to see another trial or something else? Now, that's the thing. One piece that I am kind of curious about, and maybe to you lawyers out there or you sleuths out there that know the system and how things are. When they do this, are we looking at another, like the same thing, just a different prosecution? with the same defense? Are we reapproaching everything all over again? And then if they decide not to, does it mean that she just walks free and it's a wrap? And it's donezo? Like I said, I have many, many questions because those things don't make, I'm like, wow, okay. So if it's a mistrial, so then it's a wrap, right? For now. But then they're still going to get back together and figure out if there's going to be another possible trial in the near future. I know that one thing's for sure, okay? One thing I know for sure is that if they do a trial, Karen has to go through all of this all over again. All over again. So I am kind of curious about that, right? Reality just said, I'm confused. What would be the next step? Oh, okay. Yeah. The next step, they're looking at, I'm going to continue playing it because they're like, but of course they're just talking about dates, really just trying to figure out when they're going to get back into court to figure out what's the next step. You know what I mean? Where do we go from here? You know what I mean? I feel like that's kind of the situation that they're at now. So they're looking at like the July 22nd, you're going to hear it in just a second here. But it is very interesting nonetheless how there's a possibility of them seeing an inside of a courtroom again, having all the free Karen Reeds and all the justice for John O'Keefe's out there again. There's a possibility of that. And it all depends on what happens at the end of this month, because allegedly they're going to have this meeting or have this date set up for the end of this month. Let's take a listen. Like I said, she's like, okay, let's get back together. Let's look at our times. I know a lot of people are going on vacations and so on and so forth, but this is very interesting nonetheless. And don't worry, I'm going to roll it back in a little bit so you guys can hear what the jury had to say, because I have some things to say because the media's wrong. The media be wrong, baby. The media be wrong. Let's take a listen to the rest of this really quick. Oops.
Can we come in the week of the 21st?
That's fine.
I want to just look at my calendar. Could we do the 22nd at 2 p.m. Ron? And I would hear from my client.
All right, is there another day that week? Could you do the 25th or 26th?
Unfortunately, I think I'm supposed to be for vacation on the 25th.
Okay, the 22nd and the 24th are not great dates. So
What about the 19th and 9th? Is that whole week?
no, that week's not good. Teaching that I cannot get out of.
Can we do August 7th, 8th, 9th? Any of those days?
No, we'll do the 22nd. We'll go back to the 22nd at 2. I can't let it go that long.
Your Honor, so for those, Ms. Lulu and I are not available on the 22nd. We had a hearing in Los Angeles on the 22nd.
Okay.
We're proposing to appear remotely anyway.
Okay.
But for a status conference, I don't want the court to think it's disrespectful to the court, but we will not.
Okay. So you and your client will be here in person, Ms. Giannetti.
Yes.
All right. All right. Thank you. We'll see you then.
And just like that, boom goes the dynamite. Now, hold on. I'm going to roll it back a little bit so we can relive what the jury had to say. I think that this is very interesting. And of course, I think for a lot of people, very surprising. Some people are some people, well, I think at the end of the day, both sides are not happy about the results here because they wanted a definitive guilty or definitive not guilty in this situation. And we're not getting either. But let me let you guys hear what the jury says one more time, what their statement is, okay? Because it says a lot. Take a listen. We're going to break it down too.
Judge Canoni, despite our rigorous efforts, we continue to find ourselves at an impasse. Our
You hear that? First off, I want to make this abundantly clear. There was more than just one person, more than just one juror on against. I really do think that the room was split. Maybe it wasn't like 6-6 or, it wasn't an even number, but it was enough for them to sit there and go, they're not budging and we ain't budging. That's what I truly think. But let me continue.
Our perspectives on the evidence are starkly divided. Some members of the jury firmly believe that the evidence surpasses the burden of proof, establishing the elements of the charges beyond a reasonable doubt.
Beyond a reasonable doubt. She also says members of the jury. Members. They didn't say, oh, one juror and he happens to be an ex-cop. No. Jurors. Members of the jury. Members. So it's more than just one or two. I wouldn't be surprised if it was split down the middle, baby. I would not be surprised. Because if you really think about it, look at what's going on outside the courtroom. Look at what's going on out here in these internet social media streets right now. How everybody's reacting. Either you are a sack of ish if you're on either side of the fence. You're even more of a sack of ish if you're sitting on the fence. It's insane. But that's what's going on out here in these streets. You can't just be on the sidelines, just seeing how things go and seeing how the trial goes. You got to either be team Karen or not team Karen. And if you don't do that, well, you're going to burn in the fiery pits of hell. How dare you not take a side? It's ridiculous, to be honest. Okay? But guess what? It's happening even inside that deliberation room. It's happening even with the jury. They're even split. Sure, they're getting blocked off and they're not, a part of the, outside world and all that stuff because they don't want the outside world to affect how they feel, how the jury feels about everything. But for a fact they're getting the vibes. They're seeing the vibes as they're walking in. They're hearing people screaming "Free Karen Reed," and they're also hearing them scream "Cop Killer." You're seeing and hearing both of them. You're seeing it, and then you have prosecution presenting their argument. Then you got defense presenting their argument. And then you look at that and you go, wait a second. Was she really framed? Was she not really framed? Did she really do this? What about those text messages? What about those phone calls? What about the voicemails? What about the broken tail light? What about all these other things? What about the friend that was there as well? McCabe and all that stuff. What about Alberts? What about the son? You know what I mean? What about all these things, right? You put all those things into consideration, what are you going to end up with? I'll be real. I'm not surprised about this jury being split down the middle. And I'm not surprised that they're not willing to budge. Like I said, look at the outside temperature. Look at what's been going on in the streets. It is split, literally split right down the middle. Okay? Right down the middle. And I think whatever's going out here in these streets and also in these social media streets as well, I'm not sitting here saying it's immediately affecting them, but it definitely is echoing right inside, was at least echoing inside that deliberation room. And you got to remember there's people out here that are, back in the blue, thin blue line, so on and so forth. And then you have other people that are not like that, right? Imagine having a mixture of those people with their own ideologies, political or non, in the same room at the same time, watching this whole thing. It's pretty wild stuff, to say the least. Pretty wild stuff. So again, I'm not surprised about this stalemate. I'm not surprised about this mistrial. If they sat down and went through this a few more days, do you really think they would all go on one side? Oh yeah, okay, fine. She's not guilty. I'm over here with you. Do you really think that would change? I'll tell you what, hell to the no, it won't. It won't. Like I said, this is a very interesting trial. But I do feel that there was a lot being brought in, right? A lot of questionable things that were brought in. A lot could be there. You could look at as reasonable doubt. You could look at it, oh yeah, that's not reasonable doubt. That's for sure. Like what happened, so on and so forth. There was just a lot. It was insane. And I think that hopefully this calms down some people, to be really honest. Because it's been pretty nasty out here for no reason, at least in my personal opinion. Okay. But just so you know, whatever the media has been saying, if they said, oh yeah, there's one juror that's just holding out, you know what I'm saying? No, it's not. There's more than just one. Or at least that's what they wrote in their statement. Let's continue. Oops.
To meet this standard and does not sufficiently establish the necessary All right. Thank you. We'll see you then. People have vacations
I hate when this happens.
in this case. I'll be in to see you privately in a few minutes of the charges beyond a reasonable.
Okay. I'm going to start it again. Sorry, guys. But I agree, V. It's some crazy stuff, no matter what. No verdict. Crazy.
All right, Mr. Foreman, I am in receipt of your note. Judge Cannoni, despite our rigorous efforts, we continue to find ourselves at an impasse. Our perspectives on the evidence are starkly divided. Some members of the jury firmly believe that the evidence surpasses the burden of proof, establishing the elements of the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Conversely, others find the evidence fails to meet this standard and does not sufficiently establish the necessary elements of the charges. The deep division is not due to a lack of effort or diligence, but rather a sincere adherence to our individual principles and moral convictions. To continue to deliberate would be futile and only serve to force us to compromise these deeply held beliefs.
They said futile. Okay? They said futile. And they said they are not willing to change. Basically, they're saying they're not willing to bend because it goes against their own individual personal beliefs and their own thoughts in regards to this case. Like I said, I feel that this was straight up a split down the middle standoff. They said deadlocked. It couldn't have just been one person, one juror. I think this was a situation where it's like, a good portion was like, nah, she's guilty. The other side's like, nah, she's not guilty. And they just sat there like, okay, let's work it out. Let's talk about this. Let's talk it out. And it's still like, no, but still we got this and then this and then this. You see what I'm saying? One hell of a trial. One hell of a trial. And the question I have for you guys is this. Do you feel that this is a representation of strong defense? Or is this a representation of strong prosecution? That's what I'd like to ask you guys too. Is this an example of like, oh yeah, they did their thing. The defense did a good job. This is the reason why there's a mistrial. Or do you think, no, prosecution did an amazing thing or they mucked it up? Or, same thing with defense, right? I am quite curious about that. Titus Mother, thank you so much. Justice comes with real answers, not fast answers. You're right. I agree with you 110%. Okay? I agree with you 110%. But at the same time, it's like, all right, they sat through, and it was like, I don't even remember how many hours it was. It was 20 something hours of them deliberating, which is a pretty long time. And they still were like, there's no way. There's no way this is going to change. There's no way to change our minds. And then, of course, the other question is, does this mean we're going to see another trial? Okay? That people are going to sit through another trial with more information about this. I'm quite curious about that, guys. Now, real quick. Hold on. Sorry, guys. And we're going to look at some other videos, things surrounding this, of course, family reacting. I'm sure the family has come out and made a statement, on Reed's side and the O'Keefe side. And I also want to say the tragic part of it all is at the end of the day, there is no clarified justice for anyone in this situation. Without the guilty or not guilty verdict, we're not getting anything, right? Well, not we, but the O'Keefe family, at least, is not getting what they were seeking, which is justice. They're not getting that. And then, of course, Karen Reed isn't getting full exoneration. This does not exonerate her. It's a mistrial. You see what I'm saying? So very interesting, right? Very interesting indeed. Let me just say this really quick. Fully cooked cornbread. What's up? Thank you so much. I think that Turtle Guy blew this case for everyone. Is this thing on? It's Pretzel. Hey, what's up? Hey, welcome back, man. Hey. What's up, Cornbread? Now we get to call you Cornbread. I love that. But anyway, yes, known as Cornbread for shout. Thank you. Okay, I appreciate you coming back in. And I don't know what happened, but everyone leave her alone. Okay? Do not block. Do not change anything. Leave her alone. All right? Man, that was weeks of just BS. Okay? But I'm sorry that you had to get a new screen name, but I'm glad you're back. Okay? It's nice to see your presence and your energy in the chat. Okay? Welcome back, Pretzel Cornbread. So, again, and thank you so much for the support. I appreciate that. But still, what's very interesting, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. I will never sit here and say, oh, it's this one man that, one content creator or one person that believes something that just mucked it all up. I don't think that, because yes, sure, there is some influence from the outside world that trickles into trials for sure. Absolutely. We've seen it countless times, time and time again. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't think it's just, I don't believe that. I mean, I hate to, disagree. Okay. But I will respectfully disagree on that theory. I think that he had his own theories. He had his own opinions. He put it out there. And it was up to the rest of the world to pick that up or put it down. Right. I don't think it trickled into the jury. Right. But I know that there's been other, things going on with that content creator, with other stuff. And, I keep my hands off of that. You know what I'm saying? Respectfully, I keep my hands off of that. All I know is that what was presented in court is what the jury saw. Now, if they were heavily influenced by anything outside of what they saw in the courtroom, I guess that remains to be seen, right? All we know is what we see in that courtroom on camera and what everybody else who attended the trial sees inside that courtroom. Now, I don't know what their rules were when they left, right? When they leave the courtroom, my assumption is that they're not allowed to speak to anybody, even to the jurors themselves. They're locked away and they're just there to listen or to come up with their own verdict and then deliberate. So I just leave it at that for now. Unless I hear something different, then I obviously will say something different, right? But it's very interesting nonetheless. This whole thing, right? It's very shocked. I mean, I'm not shocked, but I know that there's a lot of people that are very shocked. The only reason why I'm not shocked is because of what happened earlier this morning. They got together and they said that was the third time that they showed up. Like today, or just what we saw was the third time. They're like, we are not coming to a full unanimous decision. This morning, for the second time, they said, then we're not seeing eye to eye. We don't agree with each other. It is a deadlock. Some of us are east side, some of us are west side. And no one's willing to cross either side. What do we do? Judge even said this morning, kind of in her, by reading the paperwork, okay, on like, hey, when jurors cannot agree, what do you do? She said, please give it a shot. Please try. Please give it a shot. And then what happened? They came back and they're like, listen, we are not going to agree, at least on this. Okay? We might be agreeing on what kind of pizza we all want to eat, but we are not going to agree on this particular trial. So that's why she said, okay, it's an impasse. All right, it's a mistrial. We got to keep it moving. And we will possibly see this trial all over again in the near future. That's crazy to me, guys. That's absolutely crazy, yo. Okay? Crazy. So let me grab a couple things, because I know that there have been people reacting to all of this. Media, news, all that. Just talking about it. Family reacting to this as well. So let's take a gander at a couple things.
To Massachusetts right now, just breaking just moments ago in the Karen Reed murder trial. It has now been officially dubbed a mistrial, as the jury could not come to a unanimous decision here. So let's go right now out to that big moment inside the court here, as the judge just declared a mistrial in the Karen Reed murder trial after the jury is unable to reach this unanimous verdict on the fifth day of deliberations. A hung jury means Reed is neither convicted nor acquitted here. So let's go out right now on Live Now from Fox inside the court.
Thank you. Be seated. Closed session.
All right, I'd like to pick a status date to find out what our next move is. So I'd like to come back sometime, maybe the end of July.
Hold on, guys. Like I said, I'm just kind of picking a few things from, but this is crazy. This is crazy. I know this is going to anger a lot of people. I mean, I'm going to keep it a buck. This is gonna anger a lot of people, because it's showing that she's not guilty, nor is she innocent either. Like you just heard from that news anchor. That's some crazy stuff.
Today, a lot of pink that we've seen today, and throughout the day today they've been out here just kind of waiting, and some told me that they felt a little bit deflated that a verdict didn't come relatively quickly here. But then after we got through lunch, Karen Reed went from where they're hunkering down into the courthouse, and everyone was just kind of glued to their phones waiting for what the next step was here. And then when the judge announced there was a mistrial, there was a roar of cheers from the folks here who are wearing pink. It also happened to coincide with heavy downpours, thunder, lightning. But you see these folks, they're still out here right now. Some of them, they've got their umbrellas, they've got beach umbrellas, and there's still cheers right now after Karen Reed and her defense team left the courthouse steps there. You see Aidan Kearney, Turtle Boy, who has helped rally a lot of these people here in support of Karen Reed. So yeah, it's
I'm very curious. This is a good thing? Is this really a good thing? Is this a good thing? And I mean this in the nicest way possible. Because no matter what, it doesn't mean that she's innocent. It doesn't mean that she's guilty. It's a stalemate. It's just a tie. So is that a good thing? Like I said, I mean this in the most respectful way possible. I don't mean to be, I'm not trying to be mean or anything of that sort, but I am quite curious. This is a good thing? Because you got to remember, if this was a situation where she walks out and she was found not guilty, right? She can easily say, because you know there's going to be people out here for the rest of her life. Unfortunately, for the rest of her life, if she was exonerated, she can at least say, yo, I went through trial. I was exonerated for these things. I was found not guilty. But she wasn't found not guilty or guilty. So there will be people still looking at, I don't know. It's just interesting, guys. I don't know. At least she can at least lean on the fact that she was found, like there was a decision, like a definitive decision. This one, they couldn't make a decision. Anyway, like I said, I'm just curious. Is it a good thing really or no? But let's continue on. Because if she has to go through trial all over again, it's this all over again.
It's not a win, certainly, for Karen Reed and her team, but it's definitely, it's not a loss. And some folks saying she's not vindicated, and they take it that, but at the same time, we don't know what's going to happen next, whether or not the DA's office is going to bring these charges again. So it's one of those things we have to wait and see. Let's take a look. There's people here hugging here. It's quite a scene out here. Just a lot of people who have been out here throughout the duration of this trial. And here comes the downpours again. Let's send it back to you, Erica, for a moment, and then we might try to speak with someone here in just a few minutes.
Yeah, Peter, this case has been kind of emotionally charged for supporters, certainly showing up day after day. Any idea on whether they will continue kind of to follow Karen Reed and this saga? It sounds like some supporters say no matter what, if this is retried, they'd be back out there again.
Yeah, well, the other thing, too, to keep in mind is the fact that if this case is brought again, there's a pretty large likelihood that they would probably need to change venues. So say it ends up in Western Mass, say it ends up down the Cape. These supporters say they'd travel 100 miles. People are already traveling here to Dedham from across the state, from across New England. So there's no reason to believe that they wouldn't do that. Rita Lombardi, I just want to ask you a few questions live on Channel 5. Just how are you feeling? How did you feel when when the judge declared the mistrial there?
So we expected it, right? We expected it. The jury has come back. This is the third time. So we expected it. We were hopeful for not guilty. There was no evidence to bring guilty. Guilty was not even an option in this case. And so, it's not the verdict that we wanted, but we accept it. And I want to learn from this verdict. I want to understand why, with the evidence that the defense put forward and the cross-examination that the defense put forward, I want to learn why this jury could not come to a unanimous not guilty verdict. I think
I agree with this woman right here. Okay, I agree 110%. I would really love to know what was it that was the hang up. Okay, what was the real hang up when it comes to their verdict decision? Okay, what was what made them say? I mean, aside from what I want to know is what the jury says. Because one person or people who are watching, it's a matter of opinion, right? It's a matter of opinion. When you're watching the trial, if you were watching the trial from the nosebleed seats like myself, and have been watching it from, as best as you can when you do have time in between covering other cases, you wonder, okay, is there enough evidence, right? And did the jury see that though? You got to remember, did the jury go, that's not enough evidence? Nah, it's not enough. I'm quite curious. Like I said, we're not the jury. All we can say is what we know and what we feel, right? There wasn't enough evidence. Some other side, another side that will think that she's guilty as hell, will sit there and go, hey, there was enough, more than enough damning evidence, right? But what does the jury say? See what I'm saying? What does the jury say? Did the jury say, yeah? Or did half of the jury say, it's not enough? I still have my questions. I got questiones, right? And just like myself, I'm sure they were all inquisitive mother lovers. Rightfully so. But it's interesting, right? We're not the jury, so we don't even know what they were saying in there. They could have been hung up on one thing, right? One side could have been hung up on one thing to prove guilt or to prove innocence. You never know, right? So it is very interesting. Okay. And yes, wait for it, whimsical. Wait for it, whimsical. Wait for it, cool whip. Wait for it, whimsical. It's coming. Somebody gonna come out, and be, from the trenches. Something like that. You know what I mean? It's gonna be their book. Their tell-all book from being there in the room, being a juror. I'm just saying, wait for it. Okay? Just wait for it. It's coming. Mimi, thank you so much for the love. I really do appreciate the support. Thank you so, so very much. Thank you. Whoops. There we go. Off. Okay. So let's continue on. Like I said, just because everybody else who's been watching goes, oh, it wasn't enough. What did the jury have to say? Let's look at what did the jury say? We have our opinions, but what did the jury witness? And why is there, because as you can see, it's split down the middle. So there are people that are not team free Karen Read that are literally saying she's guilty. So they believe that there's enough evidence. They believe that there's enough damning evidence to put this woman away. You see what I'm saying? It's very interesting. Okay? But let's hear the rest of what she has to say. Because her opinion is still, we still got to respect her opinion. I'm not saying her opinion is wrong. All I'm saying is I'm just curious as to what the jury was saying. If I could be a fly on that wall, that'd be interesting, right? Let's take a listen to what she has to say. Oh, crap.
Do not understand forensic
I'm going to roll that
evidence
back.
to a unanimous not guilty verdict. I think there's a big learn in there, and we need to figure out what it is. If the juries today do not understand forensic evidence, scientific evidence, then we need to raise the standards of juries, because if they don't understand the concept, the defense put together experts from the Department of Justice, the FBI, and military. They do action reconstructionists. These are the best of the best in the world. And if that testimony was not taken as credence, then we have a problem. We have a problem.
Was this outcome today, is it a win? Is it a loss? How are you feeling in terms of, where we go from here?
I think it's a win, right? A guilty verdict, which was never an option, it's not what we wanted, right? But we accept it. But we want to learn from it. And if we learn from it, what happened, and we make our jury system stronger, then okay.
Can you speak to the fact that people are out here? It's pouring out right now. Right. Everyone's still out here.
Yes.
And we were talking a little bit earlier about how you think if this case is brought again, it's in a different district. Do you think people will travel? You think people will be out in the rain, in the snow, no matter what it is?
If we ever, and I hope we don't, if we ever have a case like this where somebody has been framed, we will be there. And this journey doesn't end here. This journey just begins. We have a lot of people in jail that were framed. The people need to relook at that evidence. That is wrong. What we have seen in this case is abuse of power.
And let me just say this too. She is saying some things that are true that were shown in this trial. There is some corruption going on. Now, is there corruption going on in this particular case? That's what I'd like to know, if that's one of the reasons why the jury was so split, right? What caused the rift? What caused the dissonance? You know what I mean? The distance between two groups of people, it sounds like, right? So she isn't wrong. We heard a lot of those things. throughout the whole trial. And it's crazy the amount of information that we learned. I mean, just the text messages from the lead investigator alone is just ridiculous, right? I mean, and that's just that. And I'm like I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what this trial was looked into and what the defense presented. But like I said, both sides did put out things, put out their arguments, put out their evidence. Again, I'm wondering, what was it? What was the smoking gun for either side that caused that rift between between these two groups, between the jurors, right? That split the room. Because it sounds like we read or we heard from the judge, a statement from the jury, and they even said members are not willing to budge because it goes against their whatever. It's the integrity, moral code, whatever the hell it is. But they feel in their heart of hearts that she is either guilty or not guilty, and they weren't willing to budge. Neither sides. That's insane. Now, I leave that up to you, and I ask you guys again, does this mean this is a good thing? Is this a thumbs up? Is this a win? Should the free Karen Reed people out here, should they be rejoicing right now? Or should they be holding their breath until the next trial or the next date where Karen and her defense have to show up to court again to see if there is going to be another trial, if she gets retried? Like I said, it doesn't mean that it's over. They might go back in at the end of July and she might say, yeah, we will be retrying. We will be doing this again. They go all through this all over again. It's interesting, but let me see if I got some more stuff. Let's take a look at a few more things. Like I said, I'm just looking at all this. I'm checking all this stuff live. Okay. And I know that a lot of people, like I said, it's splitting the room. A lot of people feel some type of way about this news. And it's okay to have your opinions. I think it's totally, totally okay. I don't think people should be crucified for having a difference of opinion. Hold on, I'm looking, guys. Sorry, guys. Let's see what CBS Boston says. Let's take a look. Because I'm sure they say some things after.
Establishing the elements of the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Conversely, others find the evidence fails to meet this standard and does not sufficiently establish the necessary elements of the charge.
There were a lot of conflicts here, and that's part of the problem.
And right now, we want to get you right out to WBZ's Penny Commit, who has been covering this case. She joins us live outside of the Dedham courthouse, where we did show you very briefly emotions were running high outside of the courtroom. And Penny, what is it like out there right now? What are you seeing? What are you hearing?
Absolutely. The judge just actually announcing a mistrial. And, I've been out here for 3 months now. I've seen this crowd. I've seen the way they've they've built over the weeks. And I want to talk to Rita Lombardi. She's one of the leaders of this movement. I know you guys erupted in cheers, but this wasn't the outcome you guys were looking for.
Absolutely not. We were expecting a not guilty verdict. All of the evidence that the defense put on, all of the cross.
She's back in here again. Let's go.
Examination that the defense did with the mostly pathetic prosecution witnesses. Karen Reed did not kill John O'Keefe. It's that simple. She was framed. And we were hopeful that.
Hold on. I need to give Court TV some love real quick. What's up, Court TV? What's up, man? What's up? Okay. Yeah. After all this time. Ain't that crazy? That's crazy. That's crazy. Right? Now, I'm wondering, Court TV, I want to hear from your opinion real quick. Do you think Karen Reed and her team should be looking at this as a win? Should they be rejoicing right now? Or should they be holding their rejoicing until after their court date that's supposedly later in this month. I'm curious. Shout out to Court TV for being in the house. Appreciate you coming in, sharing your presence. All right. We missed you. Okay. It's been a minute, but still happy to see you back. Love to hear your thoughts on that. Okay. If you can't answer, I understand, but I am quite curious. You know, is it done? Can she move on with her life? Are we moving on? Or are we seeing are we going to see another trial here? Right? I'm just curious. Okay. Because everybody seems like they're dancing in the streets, like having a great time. And I'm wondering why. Because I feel like it's not done yet. Like not at all. But anyway, I digress. Let's continue on, guys. You know?
A jury, that was our last hope, that the jury would come back with a unanimous not guilty verdict. But we accept a hung jury because we know it was either not guilty or a hung jury. Guilty was never an option in this case because you were never going to get 12 jurors to go along with what the prosecution put forward, with the planting of evidence and all the nonsense. And I hit him. She did not say I hit him.
Well, thanks for your time, Rita.
Yes.
Thanks for talking to us. And guys, a huge eruption out here after that mistrial was declared. Remember, these jurors have been deadlocked. This was several days of delay.
I'm gonna pause that really quick because we got a comment from Court TV themselves. Says relief for her team for now, but the Commonwealth has said they intend to retry. We will see. Oh my God. Like I said, some people are going yes, and some people think it's and start all over again. Right? Starting all over again. And then we're going to see, you know, and you never know. The Free Karen Reed movement might get bigger, might become greater, right? But then that's the thing. Defense has got to, at least in my personal opinion, they have got to make sure that they have a stronger presentation, a stronger narrative, a stronger argument for the next time around, if there is a next time around. And I would have to say it's the same thing for prosecution as well. It would have to be the same doggone thing for prosecution too. If people are sitting here saying the evidence was not enough on the prosecution side, prosecution needs to come in with harder evidence. They need to go back. They need to go back to their argument, go back to their presentation, go back to the evidence, go back to all the proof that they have, and wonder what's good and what's not. Wow. Okay. Court TV has a sense of humor. So to quote the Beebs, never say never. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. You know what? I'm going to clap the Court TV for humor. You know, look at you. Do you do stand up? Do you do stand up? Quit lying. I know you moonlight as a stand up comedian. Watch. But anyway, that's interesting, right? Commonwealth, it looks like they're going to be possibly pushing for another trial. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, my God. I'm not just in the chat. You're just a comedian in the chat. Okay. I mean, we need that. We need that vibe, Court. Okay. We need that vibe all day. So we appreciate it. But still, this is bad. If that's the case. I mean, for a lot of people that don't want to go through this all over again, including, most importantly, Karen Reed. You got to remember, Karen Reed's going to go through this all over again. Cabron. Again. Cabron. Again. Are we really? It's going to feel like deja vu. It really is. But hey, it is what it is. Let's keep it moving. Let's take a listen to what I'm sure. I haven't seen this video. Like I said, I just grabbed this. But I wanted to see if there's more comments from other people from from outside the courthouse.
on par with some other major trials in Massachusetts. It took the jurors several days. The judge sent them back twice, but officially a mistrial declared out here, guys. The atmosphere, I will say, you know, we expected a lot of movement. I think it's a little still. I think people wanted an answer. I think people wanted some sort of closure. And even though it's a mistrial and there's some eruption, I don't know if they got that closure today.
And we're now getting ready to hear from Karen Reed for the first time after this has been declared a mistrial. Let's listen.
She speaks.
Yes, good reaction.
Yeah, they went to the steps.
Oh. Yeah, that's not gonna. Maybe they're gonna play replay. Hold on. Because I'd love to hear that their 2 cents on everything. But I'm gonna pull this up.
See if we can chat with her.
Yeah, Cheryl and Courtney, hopefully you guys can hear me now. I've been inside that courtroom every day for 10 weeks during the trial when the judge just declared a mistrial in that courtroom. And I've been careful not to, really.
And the sound goes out again. That's not me, guys. That's the sound from the feed. But Lori, you're not wrong. This is going to be very difficult for them to find jurors that
Defeated. The judge was somber.
To find people that don't already know about this case. Okay.
Just kind of a heavy air in that courtroom this afternoon when that mistrial was just declared. And then there's really no better way to describe the difference from the course of this trial until today's end result than out here today. Every day, right? It's been beautiful, sunny weather. The defense attorneys have been very forthcoming about speaking to the media, even celebrating what they called their wins over the course of this trial. Today, you come outside, it's absolutely downpouring rain. Some thunder, and then the defense attorneys came out. Alan Jackson gave a very brief statement, didn't take any questions. David Yannetti also gave a very brief statement. Both of them really, to a degree, calling this a victory on their end and saying the prosecution failed.
Oh, dear Lord. Okay.
Different environment out here, and that, we tried to ask Karen Reed how she felt now that this actually isn't over. Over the course of this trial, she's been willing to speak with reporters. I've spoken with her many times outside, and she's said, I just can't wait for this to be over. It's not over. A mistrial is the opposite of this being over. There's already another court date for the end of this month scheduled, and Karen Reed said nothing on her way out of court. We don't know if the O'Keefe family maybe exited privately. They have been very private in not speaking with media folks or really engaging in anything going on outside of this courthouse. And as you know, there has been so much activity outside of this courthouse. So we don't know if they'll be coming out this front door or if they exited privately out the back door. But, you go through a trial that lasts this long and all parties involved, just wanted some kind of resolution. Obviously, they wanted different resolutions, and this really provides no resolution, no closure for anybody here. So we're out.
I couldn't agree more. Like I said, this does not give anyone closure. I know that some may be very excited about these results in this mistrial, but for a lot of others, they're going to feel like this is nowhere near enough, unfortunately. But let me grab a few more things, guys. Because there is a video. There we go.
They failed. They failed miserably, and they'll continue to fail. No matter how long it takes, no matter how long they keep trying, we will not stop fighting. We have no quit.
Alan, you're going to stay on? Working with Karen?
I just have two things to say, folks. Number one, I am in awe of the strength and courage of this remarkable client that I've had the privilege of representing since day one. And number two, I want to send a message to all of her supporters out there. Your support was invaluable. We are touched, and we ask for your continued support. I'm not from Texas, like my colleague here. I'm a Boston kid, but I'll repeat what he said, which is, we ain't got no quit.
Interesting, guys, don't you think? I mean, again, I think that a lot of people are gonna look at this and react in the way that I understand. I get that some people are going to be very happy about that, very excited about the news, but at the same time, I don't know. Like I said, is it enough? Is it enough for people to be able to just move on? Because it doesn't give closure. Okay, let me see what Court TV is saying. Let's see what Court TV is saying. Let's take a look. Let us see. Because I am kind of curious if there's been any commentary outside of it, right? Well, it looks like nothing so far. Interesting. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're in the middle of putting together their videos right now as we speak. And of course, they are on TV too, guys. So I'm sure they're already covering this stuff live, and then they're putting the clips online a little bit later. But let's see here. Let's see what, like I said, it's just like, I am curious, right? We are working on a video now of reaction. Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. That is what's up. And that's good to know, because I'm sure we're all waiting for that. Court. We all are waiting for that for sure. But nonetheless, what say you guys? How do you guys feel about this information? Are you happy about it? Are you not? Right? I am kind of curious about that. I think I might do that. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, I think I may do this. Okay. I'm going to open up the phone lines for like a hot minute. Okay. So, because I'd love to hear your thoughts, because I know some of you guys, are happy about this. Some of you guys are not. It's going to be very brief. And I'm going to say this too. Keep it brief. Keep it classy. If you're a jerk, I hang up on you. That's it. Okay. I don't want no angry emails for hanging up on you and stuff like that. If you're a jerk, I hang up. It's as simple as that. But I want to hear your thoughts on this. Okay. And I know, Grace, there was a lot of people that were saying things about the bite marks, right? There's been a lot of people saying, hey, the bite marks are a big thing as well. I mean, we'll see. Hold on now. Let me grab this here real quick. Hold on. Hello? Can you hear me? Hold on. Hold on, guys. Sorry, hold on. Shoot. Fixing it. Hold on. Okay. Hello? Shoot. Okay. Hey, you on the mic with the Pascal Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Charlotte. I'm calling from Florida.
Hey, Charlotte.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, real quick, guys. Hit the number 1. Let me know you guys can hear Charlotte from where? North Carolina?
No, Florida.
Oh, from Florida. I'm sorry. Charlotte, North Carolina. That's why I did that. Charlotte from Florida. Hit the number 1. Okay, everybody can hear you. Okay, what's on your mind? Speak on it.
So I'm just I feel like I have so many thoughts about this, and I don't want to take up too much time. But
Sure.
For one thing, I'm just really it really seems like, and I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but it seems like the prosecution really just has it out for Karen, as far as immediately saying that they're going to retry the case, when in my opinion it was kind of iffy to bring the case in the first place, because it seemed like the evidence that they had was just not great, to put it mildly. So I don't know. I'm just very confused, and I feel like, the whole trial was kind of a waste of time. And I feel bad because I know it's people's lives and things like that, but it's just frustrating to not have that closure and to not know what really happened and to not really understand the reasoning behind what brought this to trial in the first place, what the jury was thinking. Like, it just seems so up in the air, and it's very frustrating.
Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think we can all agree, regardless if you were on either side of the fence, right, either side of the aisle, that there is no definitive, there's no answer. It's a stalemate. It's just kind of a, well, she's not innocent, not guilty at the same time. It's very interesting. You know what I mean? And I understand that there are going to be people that are very thinking that she is innocent, right? And then there's people that think that she is absolutely guilty. And so to hear this result, yes, is disheartening. It's frustrating. I wouldn't say it is a waste of time. Because obviously this is a people, this is a family trying to get justice for their son. This is of course, the prosecution trying to bring out this information. Now, if there really is full-on corruption within this case, not just corruption with the police itself, and that's the whole conversation in itself, then yes, I think that those things should be exposed and should be brought up. So I wouldn't say it's a waste of time. I think it's just kind of an eye-opening piece. Like what we just heard from one of the protesters outside, one of the supporters of Karen Reed said outside. This gives them more insight on like what is the reason why it is a standoff, like a stalemate. Why is it a mistrial? What caused it to be a mistrial so that if there is, and it sounds like there may very well be another trial, what can they do to really send it home that she's not guilty? And I feel like it's the same side too for people who aren't supporters of the Free Karen Reed movement. They might be like, hey, okay, what did prosecution do? How did they drop the ball in this situation? And what can they do to tighten things up so that they have a stronger argument in the next trial? You see what I'm saying? But I understand where you're coming from. I just don't think it's a waste of time. I don't think it's a waste. You know?
Yeah, I agree. And I definitely don't think that it's a waste it's never a waste of time to try to get justice.
Right.
And I think that what muddies the waters here is that, even with, regardless of how strongly anyone is on either side, it's really hard to want to say, okay, all of these people are in on this conspiracy theory because, you don't want to believe, I guess, that corruption that deep can be happening. So it's frustrating, and it's, again, the burden of proof was, either met or not met, so it's just frustrating to invest all that time without having closure.
Yeah.
And then, of course, as we, as spectators feel frustrated, I can't even imagine what the people involved, are feeling. And definitely, my heart goes out to them on all sides.
Absolutely.
Because, it's just their lives, their loved ones, their freedom, their well-being and all that stuff. So yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think just overall, it's just unsatisfying, I guess.
Yeah. Like I said, there's no definitive thing. And I think that it would have been a different thing if she was found, like, for example, just to err on your side really quick, if she was found not guilty, right? Then the rest of the world can sit there and go, oh, okay, all right, then I'll sit down. I won't say anything because she was found not guilty. This still is going to be an ongoing argument until she is until they either bury this thing or they go, hey, nah, you know what I mean? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, because it's going to be a thing. It's still going to continue being a thing, which is kind of ridiculous and unfortunate.
And it's always, better to know one way or the other, whether it's good or bad or whatever the situation or outcome. It's that waiting in limbo that can be so frustrating. And then, along with that, the limbo of the people involved, plus the fact that this is just, some of the things I've seen online with like how much vitriol is kind of out there and whatnot. It's just, it just blows my mind at the exhaustiveness of it all.
Yeah. Well, hey, Charlotte, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate your 2 cents. You have a good one. All right.
Thanks so much. You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, and I appreciate the phone call because honestly, let's keep it real. Let's be real. There's going to be a lot of people that feel exactly what Charlotte feels. Hey, this felt like a waste of time. This is ridiculous. This whole thing was kind of a witch hunt, so on and so forth. But then there's other people out here on the other side that sit here and say, hey, no, we need justice. And if it isn't her, then we need to expose the bad guys. We need to expose the cover up. We need to expose 5-0. And they did some exposing. Let's be real. They did expose some of that 5-0. Some of those 5-0 are terrible. Okay. Terrible. Right. And it does make you see, I think that's one of the main reasons why, one of the many reasons why I think that the room was split. Right. You hear the things from 5-0 and you're like, wow, y'all corrupt, right? There's some corruption for sure, right? So this is going to be, like I said, this is going to be very, very interesting to see how this goes next at the end of this month when they finally have that court date. Are they going to continue moving forward? Are we going to see another trial? Is Karen's going to have to go through a whole other trial all over again, right? All that anxiety at the edge of her seat kind of thing, constantly trying to prove her innocence while prosecution is trying their hardest to prove her guilt. It's going to be very interesting, guys. Very interesting indeed. But no one's calling, so I think I'm just going to close the speak on it for now, because I know that I know a lot of you guys are still, your heads are spinning. You guys are still reacting, trying to figure out what's up and what's down. I know that this news for a lot of y'all is very disappointing, for lack of a better term. And I get it. It's crappy. Okay. Yeah, we at least had one caller, and that's totally fine. This was very impromptu type thing. I was just like, let me open up the phone lines and just hear from you guys, hear your thoughts on this, right? But nonetheless, guys, what say you guys? For me, I'm not surprised about the mistrial because of what happened earlier today. They showed up once, before the weekend, and then they showed up this morning and they said, nah, we're not agreeing. And now at a third time they show up and they're like, we cannot agree. There is no way. We have members, plural, members saying we ain't budging. And then the other side, I'm sure, ain't trying to budge either. So it's more than just one person. And the media was sitting there going, oh, yeah, whatever reporters were saying, oh, we hear it's just one juror. No, that's a bold-faced lie. That's a bold-faced, mother-loving lie. There were more. And I believe it was split down the middle. Now, however you see that, that's up to you guys. I know that the Free Karen Read movement, are looking at this as a win, as a joyous, momentous moment. But we do have to remember and keep in mind, they go back into court at the end of July. They go back into court at the end of July, guys. And it looks like, we're hearing from others, from sources on here as well, that they most likely will be pushing for another trial. So if that's the case, they're going to be going through this all over again, people, all over again. And then it's going to be East Side, West Side all over again. And somebody did say, I mentioned earlier, this is going to be very hard to find, unless they change venue. It's going to be very, very hard for them to find jurors that don't know about this case, at least in the area. So change of venue might be needed for this next case or for this next trial. Again, it's very, very interesting stuff, guys. I'm shocked just like all you guys, right? I'm not surprised, but I am kind of like, dang, because I was hoping for an end to the case, right? An end to a part of the story. Either she's exonerated or she is found guilty. We didn't get either of those things, depending on how you look at it. Some people say she was exonerated, but I didn't see that. I see they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to do another trial. So it'll be interesting, guys. It'll be very, very interesting what happens from this point on. And of course, we'll be watching from the nosebleed seats, from the sidelines, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And, breaking it down and putting in our 2 cents when this breaks. Because obviously this is some big news, and this was a very big case, and a lot of people were covering this, and a lot of people were following it. And like I said, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Even the people that are sitting there just trying to find out what both sides are saying, so that they can come to their own conclusion, to their own personal verdict on this particular case. I'm surprised that there wasn't a definitive guilty or not guilty. So we'll see what happens here very, very soon. Whimsical, thank you so much for asking that. I'm going to, you know what? The fact that Sarah Boone is going to be representing herself, I want to see that. Are you kidding me? I want to see that, but I don't know when her trial is actually happening. I thought it kept getting pushed. I thought it kept getting delayed because she went through 6, 7, 8, 9. She is literally her 9th lawyer, if I'm correct. She went through 8 lawyers. She is her 9th. She herself is her 9th lawyer. She is going to represent herself in her own trial. I want to see that for sure. That is going to be a circus and a train wreck at the same time. It's going to be glorious. So I'm going to see that. I will make time for that if I can. I hope I can. But we going to watch that. Okay? Madeline, you are not wrong. You never represent yourself. And she's doing it. I'm sorry. It just adds more to how she really is. Okay? It's going to be, fully. Yes, cornbread. Okay? Dumpster fire in action for show. Okay? It's going to be insane. And now I'm looking at that never rep yourself. I feel like you should be like, never rep yourself. You should be clapping it. You know what I mean? I'm not a lawyer and I know that. You don't represent yourself. The hell's wrong with you? Sit down, take several dumb seats. The hell's wrong with you? Yeah, another Daryl Brooks, Aurora. Exactly. Welcome to our world, guys. Okay? Loco. These people, loco, cabrón. Loco. Okay? Sarah Boone's going to be insane. That trial is going to be insane. But when is that trial? I don't think did they? Oh, Ann P is saying October. If that's the case, that's going to be one hell of a Halloween. Let me tell you. One hell of a Halloween. Anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really does mean a lot. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in, because I know you guys could have been watching on so many other platforms. You guys have been watching on all these other platforms that have been covering the Karen Read case. So I do appreciate you hopping on and just hearing my 2 cents about this. Like I said, the case is not done yet. Clearly, she has not been found guilty. She has not been found innocent. She is just still in the middle. So we will see what happens here in the very near future. What happens at the end of July? What happens at the end of July? Will there be more? Will we be seeing her again in court or not? And will we have to do this all over again? I got questions, guys. Only time will tell with those questions. Hopefully we'll have some answers very, very soon. Anyway, guys, appreciate all y'all for being here. Don't forget to hit that like button down below. Crush it. Do what it do, please. And thank you. Crush it. All right. Do not forget, if you're watching on those other platforms, hit that reaction button like Facebook. Hit that reaction button. If you are watching over there, please hit that follow button on my Facebook page. Please, on X/Twitter, also Instagram and TikTok. Follow me on all those platforms, please, and thank you. Okay, that'd be amazing. Of course, do not forget to crush that subscribe button over here on my main YouTube channel right here, but go over to my secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Crush that subscribe button over there. We do have a recap for the recent case I did this morning, Bryson Muir, that we'll be doing a kind of a recap summary coming out a little bit later on this evening. And of course, hit that subscribe button over there. Hit that subscribe button down here on my main channel. Hit that join button if you're watching on this channel. Become a member on my YouTube channel. And of course, check out my Patreon. It's right there, leaving and showing up right there. Blam. Pascal, patreon.com/The Pascal Show. Okay, guys? That would really mean a lot. All right? Do your thing. Do your thing. All right, guys? But anyway, no, fully, I did not get a chance, Cornbread. Not yet. It's going to be hella delayed. But we will be doing some sort of celebration here soon. Okay? So it's been a very busy couple weeks. But I appreciate all y'all for being here. It means a lot. We will be talking very, very soon. Much love to you guys. And yeah, be on the lookout. I got a couple other videos coming up and all that. So make sure that notification bell is set to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, and all that good stuff. Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. We'll talk soon. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.